actually got out and did some testing. Last night, Thursday night, it was it's our local track does Sticky Thursdays. So the track's like really, it's prepped really good, and a lot of fast stuff shows up down there. Like it's just a real good night to go, like even just to spectate. But I haven't had the bike out since the last race that we were at, the River Redemption race down at 41 in Indiana. And that track was raw. And the track was so raw that the concrete, like the grooves in the concrete, actually grooved my rear tire. And I didn't notice that until like the day after. We were out in the garage looking at stuff. I'm like, what the hell's going on with my rear tire? And that dawned on me that track left grooves in my tire. And so that was kind of funny. But yeah, that was the first trip out with the bike. I was just hoping the motor was going to stay together, and the bike actually ran really good. We went some rounds, and I was really happy with it. But I also didn't get crap for data from that race because of it was just a mess of in and out of the throttle, spinning the tire, like traction control, like nothing was really saving it. It was just a real dicey race. A lot of, just wrist control is what kind of won that race. So last night going down, I wanted to get good data because, like I said, this is the one I scabbed together over winter and into spring here recently. And I just wanted to make sure it was going to live under a good load. Like, can we hit this thing hard out of the hole and, run it out to, 12.2 where I shift at and see if it stays together. And I'll admit, motor is noisy. And that cylinder head is just sloppy wore out, but it works. Maybe it's a loose is fast kind of thing. A little Days of Thunder. But I just wanted to get down there. We got, it's Memorial Day weekend. And next weekend is War in the Woods. And right after that is the MKE Real Street Takeover. So the next 2 weekends I'm going to be traveling, and I want to make sure this thing was healthy before I even tried to hit the road. And that's kind of what last night was all about. And the weather recently has been kind of just all over the place. Like it's nice on days that I got other stuff I got to get done. It's rainy on days that I would have been available to go to the track. And that's kind of how this weekend is panning out. Last night, Thursday, is pretty much one of the only nice nights that we were going to get this weekend. Saturday the track is open, but they're doing the Memorial Day weekend spectacular stuff, so no real testing going on for that. So, we're going to get a lot of rain. So last night I had to get some shit figured out. And it was actually a really good night. It was fun. And granted, excuse me, granted the next two races that we're doing are no prep races. So, what good does it do to test on a prep track when you're going to do no prep stuff? But at some point you got to make the bike work on a good track to get data. That's how this works. And I made a mistake. Well, I always make mistakes because I'm a half-ass. But at the last race, that track was so greasy. I was trying everything I could to get down. I softened the rear shock way up. And normally I don't monkey with the shock much. Maybe a click or two here or there. But it's always really worked well. And I kind of forgot that I did that. And last night, making passes, it kept trying to wheelie. It hit hard out of the hole. It'd get out, I don't know, looking at the videos, I'd say 10, 15 feet, something like that. And it would start to pick the front end up. It would carry it, maybe past the 60 or whatever. But I was playing with power management out of the hole. How much timing I was pulling at the hit. I didn't make any clutch adjustments just because I'm real happy with the clutch setting that I have. Like I've said a million times previously in some of these videos, that I don't hit this thing as hard as I could out of the hole just because of what I built it to do and what we do with it. If we were only doing prep stuff, I'd have a different clutch tune in there. So I was using my regular tune-up on a prep setup or prep track, and it works okay. But I'm not going 114 60 foots with the thing. But I was playing with a little bit of power out of the hole, and I added a little power at the hit, try to make the clutch, try to make it drive through the clutch a little bit, take the wheelie out of it. Seemed to help a little bit by the third pass. But I didn't film nothing last night myself. I got videos of the passes from my buddy that helps me out. But it was one of those nights where I just wanted to run the bike. I didn't take the time to film anything. And sometimes when you're short on time doing the video stuff, it slows you down. And last night I knew I had to maximize what I was there for to do. And doing the video stuff might not have got me, 3 passes. I might have been, maybe only 2. and I learned a lot on the third pass, so it was kind of an important pass. But I'll put the videos of the passes in here, and I'll do a little voiceover and kind of tell you what was going on. We can talk time slips or whatever. I don't care. But yeah, so I got the bike all tore apart right now, and I'll flip the camera around and show you what I'm doing. I love going and testing, because no matter how dialed in I think I got the bike, after a night of testing, I always find things that I need to change, or maybe something that I tried and didn't work, or it wasn't happy. Well, just got to switch that up somehow. But I'll show you what I got going on, kind of post-race, maintenance type stuff, a couple things I want to change. Because, like I said, we didn't get good data at that first race. And now that I was at a good track surface, and I kind of put the screws to it as far as, loading it. And now that's when you find things. So I'll show you what I got going on, and then we'll get this thing 99% back together, I think, tonight. And then we'll just plan on War in the Woods. I'm going to try to make a real hard effort of get as much footage of that as I can, because everybody knows how big of an event that is for the car guys. It's the first time the bikes have ever been there, and I don't know if anybody's going to cover the bike stuff. I don't know if any other bike guys that are going that do a YouTube deal. Maybe a couple, but I'm going to try to get as much coverage as I can of it, or maybe I can bribe somebody that's there to do some recording for me and send me some footage. But anyway, we'll check this thing out, and we'll go through a little bit of post-race rundown. So currently, the oil breather tank is out of it, or the crankcase breather tank is out of it. We got the clutch basket completely out of it. So far, I've already gone through the oil filter and had the pan off, cleaned everything out. Everything looked good. The oil, even when I drained that back into the can, oil looks good. I'm real happy with that. I did have one quirky oil pressure thing going on. So 2 times at the track, and I'm just going to lean on my bike here, and we're going to have a little bench talk. So I got my feet crossed now, so we're getting casual. 2 times last night at the track, and it happened once in the garage. I started the bike up, and the oil pressure displayed nothing. Just 3 hash marks where oil pressure display would be reading. It's never done that before. And then all of a sudden it would come on and say 149.9. It would steady out 130, 125, 100 pounds, whatever. This thing, in the history of me having this thing together, it's never pegged 150 psi oil pressure sensor. So that kind of threw me for a loop. And then on one pass last night, through the shutdown, all of a sudden it dipped, and it went to a low oil pressure warning, and came right back. It went back to 35 psi. And the oil was hot. The oil was 150 degree oil temp. Just more, I was, not really hot lapping the bike, but it wasn't a cool night, and I ran it consistently. But I don't normally ever let the oil get that hot. So yeah, the oil pressure would be a little bit lower as the oil's thinning out. But it threw that oil pressure warning light, and that has never happened. Like, not in a pass, and especially not in a shutdown. The RPMs are up. So one of 2 things is going on. Either that sensor was starting to fail, and that's why I'm starting to get erratic high and low readings. And my brain's going a million miles an hour. I'm leaning towards it being the sensor because of it doing it like at startup. And then the deal in the shutdown, who knows, that could be something else. But if that sensor's going bad and acting weird just even at startup, there's no reason this thing would be doing anything different than it has the last, whatever 4 years I've had that kind of data to look at. The other thing was, I was thinking about it, going through the shutdown, getting that low oil pressure light, is there's a chance maybe it aerated the oil. And we did have an oil pressure dip. The log shows the oil pressure did dip, but if the sensor is bad, it'll still display whatever the sensor is reading. So we got a couple weird things going on there. But again, I get back to the pits and I fire it up, and the oil temperature was down to about 125 degrees, and I fired it up, and I had 80 pounds of oil pressure idling. So it's a weird quirk. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I don't feel like the motor actually has bad oil pressure. It's either a sensor or it's somehow it aerated the oil on that one pass. But like I said, for it to read over 150 at startup, it has never, ever done that. And for it to all of a sudden just recently now, it did it, once in the garage, 2 times at the track. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm not worried about it because I'm going to go racing next weekend, regardless if this has 100 PSI in it or 1 PSI. This is going down the track next weekend. The other thing is I got the clutch basket and stuff out because I wanted to go through the oil pump, make sure everything was good. I wanted to clean the basket. Just doing a real good thorough. I got the garage door. It's 70 degrees out and the garage door is closed because it's storming outside, and which is getting to be the norm around here. I'm just giving it a real good once over on everything. I don't want to, get to the track and have a problem and realize, oh man, if I would have just taken the one cover off, I would have saw that this went bad or was going bad the last time I had it at the track, and I just didn't look or address it. So tonight, rainy, crappy night, it's getting the entire once over. The oil tank, my catch breather tank, is out of the tail right now because if you look at this thing, and this was a kind of a concern I had putting it on the bike to start with, and I just thought, we'll see how it goes. So when this is on the bike, it's sitting like this. So first thing that's wrong is the oil drain in the center here is, this is basically where the oil level, let me show that a little better, put it over here. So if it's sitting tipped in the bike, obviously the oil has to get up to this level before it even wants to drain out of there, so it can always retain oil in this. Not ideal, but like I said, we were just going to see how it goes because it hasn't really pushed of any kind of volume of oil into this thing. It's always just been oil vapor, just trying to keep the crankcase vented. Second issue I noticed last night, on my third pass, I came back to the pits and this had oil running down it, and it actually dripped down into the swing arm area here, and it got in front of the tire. And I believe in a video that you'll see after this whole segment, on my third pass, you'll hear it get out about, I think third gear-ish. You'll hear it wick the tire real quick, and I shifted real quick, and it stuck it, and it kept going. It actually made an okay pass. I thought originally maybe the track was going away, but then when I got back and saw the oil on the arm, I'm like, I bet it actually dripped a little bit of oil in front of the tire on that hit. But what's going on is this tank is baffled. So if you look down in these, I'll get a flashlight and show you a little better here. Wherever the flashlight is, here it is. So if you look down in this tank, you can see there's a baffle in there. There's a baffle in there. And it's shaped like this, like a V facing down, but it doesn't go all the way to the ends. So there's an opening on both sides. And if you look at where this vents to, the inlet is on the side. So this filter, of the two filters that were on it, so there's two filters that sit on here like so. This front filter, this one actually got soaked and is what dripped. This filter back here, this filter was totally dry. And I think that's because it's not directly under where this one's kind of pumping oil and just kind of pumping vapor and saturating that filter. So what I'm going to do is, while this is off the bike now, it's a nice tank, but what I'm going to do is cut this off. I'm going to cap this. I'll cap that because two filters is kind of excessive. One will be fine. Look the size of these things. It's like 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches, I believe. Anyway, what I'm going to do is going to cap this off, run one filter because apparently that filter was happy, and then I'm going to move this to the bottom point here. I'll try to weld a little bung in there, retap it, and put that in. Or I might just, maybe I'll hole saw that out of it, plug or cap it, and hole saw it right back into here. We'll see. This is going to be the last thing I address. Might be kind of a, it's supposed to rain again on Sunday, so that might be the rainy Sunday project. But for now, we're going to get this thing back together. We're going to reprime the motor with my priming tool. I'll dump some oil in, we'll prime it, put the clutch all back together. And then I need to, I'm going to do a compression test, a leak down. We'll heat cycle it. Oh, actually, while I'm looking at things right here, one thing I noticed too, these clamps I got on here for my charge pipe, the O-rings that came with this, they deteriorated like almost instantly. And I didn't catch that until I was taking things apart and doing some maintenance. So I ordered new O-rings for it, and they are just slightly too small, I believe. So when this coupler slides on there, it was just kind of loose. And I think I was actually getting some boost bleed off because I could see a little bit of residue off the side of the fairing right through here. That'd be this side of the bike. So that would be kind of in this area, but right out where this white color is, I could just see some dirty kind of residue-ish where the turbo, probably blew a little bit of oil past, under boost, past that O-ring. It spritzed out past there. So that's what made me investigate that. Yeah, so we're just going to investigate putting a slightly bigger O-ring on there, get a tighter seal on that, and we should be fine. Other than that, I think it's just going to be, we'll reset the stack height. I already put the shock setting back to where I like it. We just basically slowed down the compression a little bit. One of the videos, if you look, and I'll do like a little voiceover, but it about whacks where I have the license plate off. It was actually hitting the tail, and that's actually never happened before. So it was hooking hard enough, and it was digging hard enough that it was basically just overpowering that shock setting. And it was just whacking the, bottom of the shock out more or less, and causing my wheelie issue. So, like I said, just a lot going on, but that's why we test. And yeah, this is what we're working with. We're getting ready here. So I'm going to do some things, and then we'll check in. Well, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I got about everything wrapped up and put back together that I wanted to do. I think the issue I was having with the oil pressure, I think it was probably the sensor, because I put a new sensor in and the reading came on right away where it normally would be, and no hesitation, no delay. It wasn't reading over 150 psi and blanking out the gauge. So I'm more confident that that's actually what it was, because it's reading what I feel is accurate right now. It's more what I've seen, all the times previous to this thing acting weird. Yeah, we got her all primed up. I got the clutch, everything's all cleaned. I reset my stack height. I got what else did I do? I did a leak down and compression test. Everything still looks good with that, which I was happy to see. I got the crankcase setup is still out of it. I'm going to just modify that tank. I'm going to do so what I'm going to do is, it's, like we've showed you before, it's in the bike like this, tilted, goofy. I'm just going to whack this bottom corner off and put a flat plate in there, maybe somewhere right along there. And then I'm going to probably move the inlet to that and the drain to the bottom side. That way I can still, drain it. But also when it's sitting, it should allow whatever may accumulate in that pan to actually drain back out into the hose and maybe back into the motor, whatever. Just an idea. We'll try it out. And then we'll put that back on. Tomorrow's going to be super nice out, so I think I'm going to skip working on the motorcycle and go do some motorbike riding on the yellow guy over there. And then, we grill out or whatever. Enjoy the weekend kind of thing. And then on Sunday, because we're supposed to get some more crap weather, I'll come out, and that's when I'm going to fire up this guy, get the TIG welder going, and I'll get that tank modified, which will be fun, because I probably should have just made a tank to start with. But that thing was like, 15, whatever, 20 bucks off Amazon, like to start with. I'd have more in material in that thing. So I'm just going to modify it, make it more for what I need, and then we'll go from there. I think we're sitting pretty good right now, I think. I do need to replenish, that's the word. My clutch fiber supply, though, that's getting kind of low. I haven't bought clutch parts in a couple of years now, I think. Well, at least since early last year. Because I haven't raced it a whole bunch because it's been broken. So I didn't go through a bunch of clutch stuff. But now that we're, hopefully we're good to go for a little bit more racing this year, I'll get some clutch stuff coming. And I think we're good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to do or address while I was here. We did compression, leak down, plugs, check gap, check gaps. Did the sensor, crankcase, vent, mod. I think we're good. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go inside, get something to eat. We got another round of storms rolling through. It's a little bit after 9 right now, and Hear a little bit of thunder rumbling in the distance. So we got one more round coming tonight, and then hopefully that's it for at least tomorrow. So I'll get this thing edited, and we'll see you guys hopefully this week yet.